Hello everyone, I am Rajiv Saxena, Associate Professor, Smriti College of Pharmaceutical Education, Indore. So in today's video lecture, we'll discuss about the sterility testing as per Indian Pharmacopoeia. Now in the previous videos, we have discussed about for the sterilization purpose, different methods of sterilization are available. We know that there are various pharmaceutical products that need to be sterile. So depending upon the facility that is available, depending upon the type of material that we have to sterile, we choose the particular sterilization method. Either we can go for the use of sterilization by the use of heat, we can go for the filtration method of sterilization, the radiation method of sterilization, or different chemical methods of sterilization. But whatever the sterilization process that we are using, it should be 100% foolproof. It means if we are sterilizing any drug or any pharmaceutical product, then after the sterilization cycle, it should assure that in the final product, no contaminants is available or no microorganism is available. Now, we know that after the manufacturing, once the process of manufacturing will be completed, then from the final product, we cannot send that particular product directly into the market, because if, for example, if during the process of sterilization, during the cycle of sterilization, if something get missed or maybe some microorganism may be available in your final product, even after the sterilization cycle, then what will happen? Definitely these microorganism, maybe it will be lethal to the person or the patient that will take those products. So, after the manufacturing, after the sterilization process is completed, then in the final product, again once we have to perform the test for sterility, because in the process when we are performing the sterilization process, we know that various categories of the validation took place. In the last video, we have discussed about the validation process in which we go for the determination of different physical performance qualification data, biological performance qualification data, and these data, these validatory documents actually assures us that during the process of manufacturing, no contaminant is available and the sterilization process is actually taking place as per the set standard. But just in case if, for example, during the sterilization process or maybe because of something error in the validation process, if some of the microorganism may not be destroyed, then what will happen? Your final product, we cannot say that your final product is sterile in nature. So once the product is formulated, once the product enters into the packaging section, or once the primary and the secondary packaging is done, then what we have to do, randomly we have to select different samples, and from that samples we have to perform the test for sterility. And if after performing the test for sterility, if the product passes the test for sterility, then definitely we can launch those products in the market. So in this lecture, we'll understand how the test for sterility is actually performed in the laboratory. So, for example, if you are having any pharmaceutical product, we can easily take an example of any injectable or any parenteral solution. And for example, if you are picking those parenteral solution or injections from a bulk, then what we have to do, we have to take that sample and we have to inoculate that sample into some specified culture medias, and then we have to observe the growth of the microorganism. In a simple terms, we can understand that what is exactly the principle of test for sterility. What we have to do, we have to go for the sampling, means whatever the final product that is available to you on which we have to perform the test for sterility, we have to take those products, and from that product, what we have to do, we have to inoculate those products into some specified culture medias. Now, for example, if your product is highly sterile in nature, it is 100% sterile in nature, then what will happen? When it is actually incubated in the culture media, inoculated into the culture media and incubated for a particular period of time, then what you will see that in the media, there is no growth is available. But if some microorganisms are available in the final or the finished product, then what will happen? these microorganisms will show the growth in the culture media. So if the growth is observed, then we can say that the test for sterility is not passed. And if there is no growth is available, then definitely we can say that our product or our batch actually passes the test for sterility. So in simple terms, we can say that we are actually testing the samples with different culture medias and try to observe the growth of microorganism in the culture media. If growth is available, we can say that maybe the product is not sterile in nature, and if no growth is available, then definitely we can say that in our final product the microorganism is not available. Now, if we are talking about the Indian pharmacopoeia, then what we can see that in Indian pharmacopoeia, different culture medias are already prescribed. Like for example, we can go for the use of fluid thioglycolate media, especially if our product is some clear fluid. We can also go for the use of alternate thioglycolate media if our product is turbid in nature or viscous in nature, or if it is having certain sterile devices. We can also go for the use of the soybean casein digest media. So these are some of the standard medias which is already prescribed in the Indian pharmacopoeia. So depending upon the quality or the type of the product, either we can go for the use of the fluid thioglycolate media, we can go for the use of alternate thioglycolate media, or we can go for the use of soybean casein digest media. So once this media will be prepared in the laboratory, for example today if I have to perform the test for sterility, first what we have to do, we have to go for the preparation of these culture media. We have to take the individual ingredient as per the recipe, and after the preparation we have to go for the sterilization of the culture media. Because if the culture media is not sterile in nature, then what will happen? If you are inoculating any sample, definitely it will show the growth. So after the preparation of the culture media, what we have to do, the culture media, either we are preparing the fluid thioglycolate media or any kind of the culture media, then after the preparations what we have to do, we have to go for the sterilization of the culture media. So the first step, if we have to perform the test for sterility as per IP, is we have to select a culture media, we have to prepare a culture media, and after the preparation we have to go for the sterilization of culture media, and the most common way of sterilization is by the use of an autoclave. Now coming to the next point. Now as per, again I am talking about the Indian pharmacopoeia, then as per Indian pharmacopoeia, there are two methods which are prescribed for performing the test for sterility. That is actually method A and method B. The method A is actually called as the membrane filtration method, whereas method B is actually called as the direct inoculation method. So IP recommends that if we have to perform the test for sterility, then two methods are already given. Method 1 is membrane filtration method, which is actually called as method A, and the second method is a direct inoculation method, which is called as method B. So either we can go for the use of method A or we can go for the use of the method B. So one by one we'll study what exactly we have to go for performing. If you have to perform method A or method B, then what is exactly the laboratory protocol for performing these methods. So first we'll discuss about the method A, that is the membrane filtration method. Now membrane filtration method is generally recommended for the pharmaceutical substances, like it is having oils, ointments, non-bacterial static solids, soluble powders, etc. So if these categories of the pharmaceutical products are available, or we have to perform the test for sterility in these categories of the product, then definitely we can go for the use of the membrane filtration method. Now, if we have to perform the membrane filtration method, then first let us discuss about the basic principle, or how, in which basis or in which logic this method actually works. Now, the membrane filtration method is somewhat very similar to that we have studied about the sterilization process by filtration, that is the mechanical method of sterilization. So here what exactly we are doing, we are passing the sample, whatever the sample in which we have to perform the test for sterility, we have to pass those sample with the help of the membrane filters. We have to pass it through the membrane filters of some specified size, for example 0.22 or 0.45 micron membrane filter, and after passing our product through this membrane filter, what we have to do, we have to take out that membrane filter, and then we have to dip that membrane filter in the prescribed culture media. And when we are dipping that membrane after the product has passed from that membrane, and if we are observing the growth of the microorganism in the culture media, then what two possible results can be there? Result number one, that if no growth is observed. Now why there is no growth? Because for example, in your product, if no microorganism is available, or if the sterilization process was very good and all the validated documents are very good, then definitely what will happen, that in the final product no microorganism will be available. And if no microorganism is available and we are passing that product with the help of the membrane filters, then what will happen? No microorganism will be available or will be retained on the surface of the membrane filter. And if no microorganism will be retained, and if we are taking out that membrane and try to inoculate into the culture media and finding out the growth, then definitely what we will see, that no growth will be there. And for example, if some product is there which is having some contaminating microorganism and we are passing that product with the help of the membrane filters, then definitely the microorganisms which are available in the product will be retained on the surface of the membrane filter. And if that membrane is inoculated into the culture media, then definitely after a prescribed period of time, it will show the growth of the microorganism. So if the growth is available, then definitely we can say that your product does not passes with the test for sterility. That is the basis of performing the membrane filtration method. We have to take the pharmaceutical product, we have to take the random sampling of the pharmaceutical product, and with the help of the assembly, there is some prescribed assemblies available which is actually called as sterility testing unit. So in this sterility testing unit, filters are available of specified size, for example 0.22 micron and 0.45 microns. So we have to, with the help of this sterility testing unit, some vacuum pump is also attached that facilitates the passage of this product through the membrane filter. And when we are passing the product and we have to go for the recovery of the membrane, and that membrane is actually cut into two pieces, and then this membrane is inoculated into the culture media. And we have to go for the observation of the growth. If growth is observed, then definitely we can say that your product is not sterile in nature, and if no growth is observed, then we can say that your product is sterile in nature. Now, depending upon the type of the pharmaceutical product, different methods or different way of performing the test for sterility by using the membrane filtration methods are available. Like for example, if you are having an aqueous solution, then what we have to do? We have to go for direct passage of that aqueous solution with the membrane filter, and then we have to inoculate that membrane filter into the culture media like fluid thioglycolate media, and the inoculation is done for 7 days, and the temperature of incubation, sorry, it is not inoculation, it is incubation. We have to go for incubation for 7 days, and the temperature of incubation is around 20 to 25 degree centigrade. So after 7 days, we have to observe the growth. And for example, if your pharmaceutical product is oil or oily solution, and if that oil or oily solution is having sufficient low viscosity, then we can directly pass the substances through the membrane filters. And for example, if your product is ointment or cream, then we have to go for the heating of the product to get some suitable concentration, for example 1% of that product, and then that product is passed through the membrane filters. For example, if your product is in the form of the soluble solid, then what we have to do, because solids cannot be directly passed through the membrane filter. So again, one option is available, like you have to go for the preparation of some dilution fluid. Two types of dilution fluids are available. Number one is a dilution fluid A, and number two is a dilution fluid B. Now dilution fluid A is actually how it is prepared in the laboratory. So we have to weigh 1 gram of the peptone, and then it is dissolved in 1000 ml of water, and further it is autoclaved. So after autoclaving, the 1 gram of peptone solution in 1000 ml of water is actually called as the dilution fluid A. So if we have to go for performing the test for sterility for some soluble solid, what we have to do? We have to mix the prescribed quantity of that solid powder with the dilution fluid A. So now your powder will be now available in the form of the solution. So this solution can easily be passed through the membrane filter. But if your product is in the form of some sterile devices. Another method of performing the test for sterility by using membrane filtration method, it is having the application in the sterile devices also. Means we can perform the test for sterility for sterile devices also by using the membrane filtration method. But again, it is very interesting to know that if these sterile devices cannot pass us with the membrane filters, so what we have to do, we have to take 20 such devices on which we have to perform the test for sterility. Then what we have to do, we have to flush those 20 devices with the dilution fluid B. Means we have to prepare a dilution fluid B. Now again, what is dilution fluid B? We have to take dilution fluid A, and in the dilution fluid A, we have to go for the addition of 1 ml of Twin 80, or any other categories of this surfactant can also be added, but generally 1 ml of Twin 80 is added in dilution fluid A. Then that dilution fluid A will be called as dilution fluid B. So what we have to do, we have to take 20 such devices and flush the dilution fluid B from those 20 devices and recover the dilution fluid B from those devices. So at the end of this experiment, what you will have? You will have the dilution fluid B which has come across the sterile devices. So if there is no microorganism will be available on the sterile devices, then what will happen? The recovery that you are getting of the dilution fluid B will be free from any microorganism, and then we have to again pass the dilution fluid B with the membrane filter. And if there is no microorganism is available in the sterile devices, then again what will happen? No microorganism will be recovered on the surface of the membrane filter and no growth will be observed. But again, if the sterile devices are contaminated and if we are flushing the dilution fluid B from 26 devices and we are recovering around 100 to 150 ml of the dilution fluid B and we are trying to pass it with the membrane filter, then what will happen? These microorganisms will be retained on the surface of the membrane filter, and definitely in the further incubation, it will show the growth of the microorganism. Then definitely we can say that these sterile devices are not sterile in nature. So by this way, by using this membrane filtration method, different categories of the pharmaceutical product and sterile devices can be checked for its sterility. But again, as per Indian Pharmacopoeia, one more method is also prescribed, which is called as method B, and method B is also called as direct inoculation method. Now, as the name of the direct inoculation is itself suggesting that here we don't have to go for use of any membrane filter or any such specific assembly, but what we have to do, we have to directly inoculate the sample of the pharmaceutical material into the culture media, and then that culture media in which the inoculation of the pharmaceutical product is done is then again kept for incubation, and again the growth of the microorganism is checked. Okay, so this again, if we are talking about different categories of the pharmaceutical product, like for example, if your product is aqueous solution, then what we have to do, directly take that aqueous solution as a sample and inoculate into the culture media. But here the time of incubation is around 14 days and the temperature is around 30 to 35 degree centigrade. Whereas if we talk about the membrane filtration method, the time duration is around 7 days and the temperature was around 20 to 25 degree centigrade. But if we are talking about the direct inoculation method, then definitely the time period is more. There is no specific reason for that change in the time period, because what we are doing in case of sample 1 or in case of the method A, what we are doing, we are entirely passing our sample through the membrane filter. So if some microorganisms are available, then every microorganism will get a chance to be recovered on the surface of the membrane filter. Whereas in case of the method B, we are taking some ml of the sample and we are inoculating that sample into the culture media. So in that case, we can say that in case of method B, only few microorganisms can be catched from the sample, and definitely in order to grow, in order to convert those microorganisms into the form of some visible growth, definitely the number of days will be required, will be more as compared to that of the method A. Then if we are having some oil and oily solutions, then we can again go for the direct inoculation into the culture media that consists of 1% of the twin. And again, for example, if we are having some solid, then solid can directly be inoculated into the culture media. Means again, this method is very simple. We have to take the pharmaceutical product and we have to directly go for the inoculation of that product into the culture media, either your fluid high glycolate media, alternate high glycolate media, or soybean casein digest media. Maybe if we are having some sterile devices, then for sterile devices also we can go for performing the method B. Now in that case, what we have to do, we have to immerse those sterile devices, around 20 such devices, into the culture media. We have to go for the immersion of the devices into the culture media of around 1000 ml. And for example, if it is not practically possible to immerse that devices into the culture media, what we can do, we can again go for flushing the lumen of that sterile devices with around 15 ml of the culture media, and then it is inoculated, incubated for the further observation of the growth. Now either we are performing a method A or we are performing method B. The most important point is the observation and interpretation of the result. Means maybe if you are using a method A or maybe you are using method B, you are getting some result. Either you are getting the growth of the microorganism in the culture media or you are not getting the growth of the microorganism. Then how we have to go for the observation and interpretation of the result? Again, it is a very important point that has to be discussed here. Maybe whatever the result you are getting either from method A, method B, then the interpretation is almost same for both the methods. Now coming to the interpretation part, after performing the test for sterility, what interpretations you can do? Now, if after performing the test for sterility, if no growth is observed in the culture media, then definitely what we can say that our sample passes the test for sterility. That is point number 1 of interpretation, that if you are getting no growth, then definitely if the no growth is observed, then we can say that our sample passes the test for sterility. But if the growth is observed, what we have to do? Means if the growth is observed, we cannot say that it will fail the test for sterility, because to say that it will fail the test for sterility is a loss of so many samples which is available in the batch. So directly we cannot say that it will fail the test for sterility. Then what we have to do? We have to again perform the test for sterility. Means retest has to be performed. And if for example, if we are performing a retest, and in the retest we are observing that no growth is there, then again we can say that it will passes the test for sterility. Means for the first time when we are performing the test, and if no growth is observed, it will passes the test for sterility. But in the first test, if the growth is observed, then retest has to be performed. And in the retest, if the no growth is observed, then we can say that it will passes the test for sterility. But if when we are performing the second test or the retest, and if again growth is observed, then what we have to do? Again the result is not like it will fail the test for sterility. Again what we have to do? We have to go for the identification and characterization of the microorganism which is obtained in the first test and which is obtained in the retest. Means we have to go for the isolation of those microorganisms which are obtained in the first test, and we have to go for the isolation of the microorganism which is obtained from the second retest. Then what we have to do? We have to go for matching. Means we have to think that whether the microorganism which is obtained from the first test and second test, whether they are same or different. For example, if both the microorganisms are same, the microorganism which is observed in the first test and it is same as that of the microorganism which are observed in the second retest or in the retest, then we can say that there is the contamination in the contamination in the pharmaceutical product, and it will definitely fail the test for sterility. But one more case may be available, like the microorganisms which are obtained from the first test and the microorganisms which are obtained from the second test, they are different in nature. In the first test we are obtaining A, and in the second test we are obtaining B. Then again some more things has to be done. Means now again we have to go for performing the test for sterility with twice number of the sample. For example, in the first test we are taking 20 samples. So now we have to perform the test for sterility for 40 samples. And after performing the test with twice the number of the sample, again you can have two observations. Observation number 1, that in the twice number of sample, again no growth is observed. and if no growth is observed after performing a test with the twice number of sample, then definitely we can say that it will passes the test for sterility. But again, after performing the retest with the twice number of sample, if again the growth is observed, then we can say that it will fails the test for sterility. Means maybe in the first point when we are performing the test for the first time, you are getting a growth. But it doesn't mean it will fail the test for sterility when, because when the same test will be performed for twice the number of sample, and if no growth will be observed, then definitely we can say that it will passes the test for sterility. Because what happens actually, when we are performing this test for sterility in our laboratory, there may be the chances of accidental contamination. So if the accidental contamination is there, or maybe while performing the test for sterility, during the performance of the test, if some microorganism accidentally enters into the procedure, then definitely it will also show the growth. But it doesn't mean that these microorganisms are available in the final product. So by performing the retest, by identification of the microorganism, matching the microorganism, distinguishing the microorganism, and performing the retest with the twice number of the sample, by this way we can go for the final result that whether your pharmaceutical product is sterile, or it passes the test for sterility, or it does not passes the test for sterility. So this is all about how the test for sterility is performed in the laboratory. First, we have to go for the preparation of the culture media. Then, two methods are prescribed, method A or method B. Either we can go for the membrane filtration method, or we can go for the use of the direct inoculation method. From both these methods, we'll obtain certain result. Either the growth is positive or the growth is negative. So, depending upon the interpretation, final conclusion has to be made that in our batch, whether that particular batch is passing the test for sterility or it does not passes the test.